So we imported some clips, and we also made a cut and then removed the section in between some of our clips. Now we're going to look at a few other things that we can do with this as well. So one thing that you might want to do is you may not want to have the audio that you captured with your video, especially if you're going to be doing more of a montage sort of video where you're putting a lot of clips together and you don't want the audio jumping around a lot. But if you try to select the audio now, you'll notice that it selects the video as well. And that's because your audio and video come in linked. They're all part of one clip. To be able to break that link, you can right-click and choose Unlink. Now you'll be able to select the audio individually and remove it for any of the clips that you don't want it for. You can also shift select if you want to do this for multiple clips. But this allows you to either remove your audio or offset the audio so that it doesn't match with the video, which usually you wouldn't want to do, but there might be some certain situations where that might be useful. So we looked at making a cut, and now and usually with your videos you'll probably want to do cuts. That's a normal progression in time. Let's say that you are going from indoor of a location, or outdoor of a location to indoor of a location, and then you're walking around to tables at that location or something like that and talking to different people in that location. So cuts would kind of do a normal progression of time for that. But let's say that you want a bigger jump. Maybe you're going from one side of a city to another side of the city, or you're going from daytime to nighttime. If you're going for a larger movement like that, then sometimes crossfades can help bridge the gap of time or space in those ways. And there's different ways you can do crossfades. There's actually crossfade effects, but I would actually not recommend using them because when you import from Premiere to After Effects, you can lose those effects depending on the way that you import. So it's usually a better idea to just kind of make your own, and they're not that difficult to make. We're going to do one by taking my second clip right here and making a crossfade from this location to here. Actually, let's do a crossfade from, I'll do it from my stabilizer, my corner pin. So any of your larger location jumps, you can do a crossfade for. So the first thing we need to do is we need to put the video that's going to be replacing the other video on a higher layer. So I'm going to take my corner pin and drag it up to my second layer, which for some reason isn't active. And we want a little bit of overlay space because it needs to show this video underneath while this one's fading in. So right now it's still going to be a cut. And we can see where the two overlap. Like with other Adobe programs, whatever's on the top layer is going to show first. But instead what we want to do is we want to have this slowly fade in so that it kind of overlaps this as it's going and making a smoother transition. You can do that by selecting the clip. You might have to double click to get it to appear up here, and then going to your effect controls. From here you have the ability to reposition, scale, or rotate your object or your video layers, or you can also mess with your opacity, which is what we want to do. So we're going to expand our opacity property. By default it's got keyframes already turned on, and we're going to make sure your playhead is at the start of this clip and set the opacity to be 0. Then I'm going to move to where this next clip ends, or close to the end, and increase it to 100. So it's just fading in the top layer basically, and that's going to create what's called a crossfade, where one layer looks like it's fading out while the other layer is fading in. Okay. This can all be done from up in your effect control panel. Now there's a lot of effects that can also help improve the quality of your video, especially lighting and coloring effects. And I would encourage you guys to kind of explore those on your own to help improve your video, especially if you shot in lower light than you'd like to. But one of the ones that I would recommend checking out, and we'll actually do a demo of right now, is the shadow highlight effect. So to get this, I'm going to have to go over to my Effect tab within my project panel. And I'm going to search for shadow. It's in my video effects in the obsolete section, and it's shadow highlight. And this effect does also exist within After Effects. I believe it's in the color correction section in After Effects though. So to apply this to this layer, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it and drag it right over top of my quarter pin. Like so. And you'll see immediate results right away. So let me collapse this a little bit. And if you look in our effect control panel, we can actually see the effect now. You can see I had really kind of heavy shadows over here. I wanted to brighten this up a little bit without losing kind of the contrast on this area. So the shadow highlight effect does a really good job of kind of balancing out your shadows a little bit more. If you have really weak shot footage, you might want to use this. If you have really flat footage, you may want to use a contrast filter. So we looked at how to separate our video onto separate layers. We also looked at how to do a crossfade. And then we looked at how to apply an effect as well. And it's going to be done in a similar way as After Effects.